It was the way she folded one leg over the other, right there in the courtroom, her ankle perched neatly on her knee, heel bouncing in sync with that smug little smirk she wore so well. Every movement was polished, rehearsed, exactly the kind of confidence she exuded when she believed the game was already won. I didn't look at her directly. Just kept her in the edge of my vision, enough to catch the self-satisfied nod she gave her new husband, James, as the judge flipped through the final version of our divorce decree. They'd choreographed this, no doubt about it. 3 years married, 5 years as business partners, and over a decade of her perfecting the art of pretending to care. Until the moment she didn't. Until I opened my mouth to speak, only to realize her lies were already being whispered into someone else's ear. The room felt too hot, or maybe it was just the slow-burning fire that had started 5 months earlier and refused to cool. Her attorney cleared his throat. James laughed a little too loud, the kind of laugh that sounded like it had been rehearsed in front of a mirror. She placed her hand lightly on his. A signal. The judge paused mid-page. Then he leaned back and laughed, not out of amusement, but like someone who just reached the plot twist he never expected. That was the first time I smiled in months. 6 months ago, she claimed she needed time. Said she was suffocating in the empire we'd built. That I had become mechanical, incapable of affection, incapable of slowing down. The same woman who once begged me to expand at all costs was now saying I'd pushed too far. I took her seriously. Booked her a solo retreat. She left crying, came back silent. Something had changed. Too much politeness. Too much stillness. Her eyes no longer scanned the room, they scanned me. I asked if she was okay. She kissed my cheek. And the following weekend, with an unease I couldn't shake, I checked the security footage. There he was, James, lounging in my chair, feet kicked up on my desk, laughing like he owned the place. She had brought him in under the title, consultant, an investment advisor, she said. I didn't question it then. Why would I? But he didn't look at her like a colleague. He looked at her the way I once did, back when love hadn't been sharpened into a weapon. I didn't confront her. That would have been emotional. And emotion distorts judgment. Instead, I turned to facts, company logs, door access records, system activity, email trails. Digital footprints always leave a trace if you know where to look. It didn't take long. His visits aligned too neatly with her calendar. Late-night access to folders she had no clearance for. Deleted messages I recovered, complete with timestamps. I hired someone, not from a website, but the kind of contact you meet in silence, in places where names aren't exchanged. He handed me photos of her and James. Too close. Too often. Hotel lobbies. Conference corners. Even our cabin, the one she said she couldn't return to because it was too haunted after our last fight. That was the same week she filed for divorce. No prenup. The company's sale was public, $9 million in clean, legal earnings. She wanted half. More than half, actually, arguing that I'd taken a back seat while she managed day-to-day operations, proof, she claimed, that the company's lifeblood was hers alone. I let her tell that story. Let her believe I was stepping aside, detached. Because I had what she didn't, time and a paper trail. 3 days before the final hearing, I walked into the clerk's office and left a sealed envelope on the desk. Inside, a full forensic audit, board meeting transcripts, records of hidden transfers linked to a shared offshore account in her and James's names. Nothing overtly illegal, just enough to destroy her image of innocence. Included was a notarized letter from the merger attorney confirming that I had never given up control. I'd simply moved it to a trust she didn't know existed. A trust under a pseudonym, mine. While she and James played empire, I built escape routes, clean, complete, invisible. The judge read it all. And then he laughed. I still hadn't looked at her. Not as the judge set the documents aside. Not as her lawyer began to sweat and James's smug expression vanished. Miss Levant, the judge finally said, his gaze sharp. You may want to revisit the definitions of perjury and fraud. Her smile faltered. Not much. Just enough to let something real slip through, fear. I leaned forward. Not to speak. Not to gloat. Just to slide a single document across the table, the one she signed 2 years earlier, high on champagne, after I closed our first 8-figure deal. A document granting me full control of company decisions. She thought it was ceremonial. She never read it. Now it sat between us like a loaded weapon. James reached for her hand. She pulled away. And then she looked at me. And I looked back. No anger. No hatred. Just stillness. And that strange crystalline calm that follows a storm when you realize you're the only one still on your feet. People say betrayal burns like fire. But it doesn't. It freezes. Cold. Numb. Exacting. She tried to bury me. What she didn't understand was that I built the company the same way I built myself, in layers, with fail-safes, ready for sabotage. Especially hers. The judge dismissed her petition, with prejudice. I stood up and left before the next case was called. Never looked back. Didn't have to. Because silence, when it falls, can thunder louder than any outburst. And in that courtroom, I left behind an avalanche.